Hello and welcome to my channel, and I am Stephanie, and I had no clue what I was going to record for Tuesday's video, so I finished reading something, and you guys liked that I gave you a super real book review this weekend. So after reading this book that I finished today on Monday, I decided to come down and record something for you guys. It's about some controversial and diverse books that I have read, and some of them I've had an unpopular opinion on, and I have some responses to give you guys. As I said, so I finished A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds today, and this book of poetry, I actually listened to it on audiobook, and this book of poetry that he narrates was more like a short story that moved me. I mean, I think it's only like an hour and like 40 something minutes long for him to read this 340 something page book of poems. It was just amazing. I don't even know what to do with myself. I was so emotional. Thank goodness it was the end of the day that I finished reading it, but I was just in tears from the emotion that Jason put into this reading. I'm still pretty baffled at how emotional I am to this book and how the emotions that went along with the story. So the story is about, or the poems are about, this young man named Will, who his brother gets killed, and this is his ride on an elevator. Elevators go like 30 seconds to a minute. So all of these poems put together is like a 1 to 2 minute ride on the elevator. And listening to the book, listening to Jason's interpretation of it and why he wrote the book, he stated he wanted to sort of give that whole, give someone a, oh my goodness, let them in on a perspective that maybe you didn't have before. And that is exactly sort of what he gave me. He says that he doesn't write to, you know, have people learn things, but yeah, wow. This is like a little inner look into what an inner city's person, someone that has to deal with gangs and violence on a day-to-day basis. So this young man, his brother gets killed through gun violence, and he's on this elevator and has sort of these Christmas Story, Boys in the Hood sort of feel to it. And wow, I mean, there were only 3 rules that he had to follow as a young black man, and that was to not cry, not to snitch, and to always get revenge. Oh, to think that in this day and age that generations are still preaching that, still teaching that, still instilling that into the new generations coming along is just so mind-boggling. But that is someone's way of life. So it made me think back to some of the negative comments that I received for my The Hate You Give rant and sort of dislike. And I don't know that I could say hatred of the book for me, but I really disliked this book. I didn't like it at all by Angie Thomas, and I've been very vocal about it. I am the unpopular opinion on it. I gave it 2 stars when I read it last October, when I finished it last October, because I started it last June, I want to say, and then it took me that long to get through it. It was, oh my goodness. So the video that was up in the thumbnails, yeah, I have like 1.2 1,000 views on that. And that is like a 25-minute rant about why I did not like that book. So if you really want to know how I felt about that, either go back to that card or check down in the description box so you can listen to that. But I've also received 60 plus comments about that video, some in support of me, but then there are some that are just downright rude, and I wasn't hurt by them. I'm not offended by them. People are allowed to have their own opinions and how they feel about it, about my feelings. Fine. You can have your thoughts on my feelings. They're my feelings. So, you know, it's like, ugh, it's real frustrating. But at the same time, I'm okay with you not liking me. I had one person say that I was, let me pull it up so I can make sure I quote it properly. And this was a recent, or very recent comment that I had as of like last week or so, I think. Let's see if I can even find it. Ah, there it is. 2 weeks ago. The comment was, "You sound like a scared Uncle Tom, afraid to stand stand with your own people." Really? A scared Uncle Tom that don't want to stand with my own people. Okay, so because I think that black people need to own what they do, work hard, and get to where they want to go, not necessarily being that pro basketball player or that pro football player. Let's be the president. Let's find a cure for cancer. Let's be part of government. I mean, we have so many great leaders that we could emulate ourselves on, besides Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. We have freaking the former president, Barack Obama. We have General Colin Powell. We have Condoleezza Rice. I mean, really? I mean, do we really have to think of rappers and music moguls as our role models? Because what? Why? They got the luck of the draw and were able to dribble a ball? They were able to catch a ball? I mean, I'm not saying that they are not great people that are in the music business, because they're awesome. You make it big in music, you're awesome. You make it big in basketball, you're awesome. You found something that you were good at, and you were at the right place at the right time to get that golden ticket. But you know, they probably worked really, really hard to get where they're at as well. They didn't just slack off and have something given to them. And that is the message that I try and give to my son. You just got to work hard. You got to find your niche. Find that thing that makes you tick, that you find enjoyment with, and work hard to achieve it. My thing is that I can't stand when the black community is like, I need a handout. And because I think that it's about a personal issue, it's about a personal find to achieve greatness, that I'm against my people. Ah, really? I mean, come on. I mean, I've also read a couple of other mainstream books that I have just absolutely loved. Dear Martin by Nick Stone. Absolutely adored this book. Went and bought a copy of it so that my son can later on in life read this book, because it is so beautifully written, and it really sends that message of finding your voice, of knowing that maybe you have to work 2 times as hard. You can find a non-violent way to achieve getting your voice across and being heard. The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I absolutely adore this book. This book is set in the Deep South. It is set during times where it was a hardship to be a black person in the United States. But the whole story is Celie finding herself and achieving her goals, getting back to her family. She lives through abuse, mental and physical, and just so much, so very much. But in the end, she finds her happy, and I mean, yes, she's a fictional character, but there are so many families and so many women that probably had to go through that struggle. I'm sure that's where Alice Walker drew her inspiration from, and you can feel it through when she reads it as an audiobook, when you read it on the page, when you watch the Steven Spielberg movie with Whoopi Goldberg in it. This is what I'm talking about. There are so many books, and just because I have the unpopular opinion about one that so many people are like, oh, it's amazing, I do not feel that way. And I've probably went completely off the rails with what I initially wanted to say about all of this. But there are Black authors out there that are writing books that have moved me to tears, moved me to see things differently, and I just, So here is a list of more books, besides the ones that I just talked about, that I just think you guys need to go out and read, and they're Black authors. If I was to try and write and become a writer or an author, these are the people that I would want to emulate. The Grip series, the Soul series, Long Shot, Block Shot, all by Kennedy Ryan. She is an indie author that does research before she writes a book. She works off of her own personal experiences, and she is going to put a foot into your soul with her social conscience, with the things that she writes about, and she's just an amazing author. I've met her a couple times. I love her. I love seeing her. I love talking to her. We have like instant messages, conversations when I'm reading her books, and yes, she's an author that you need to go read. 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northrop. That was a hard book for me to read. I don't particularly care for books that are written about slave times because I hate that our country dehumanized human beings. Do I want to erase those things that happened in history? Hell to the no. No, no, no. Because if you erase it from history, you are doomed. Doomed, 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 doomed to repeat it, and we will be right back where we were 200 years ago. Out of control. Just not even... just no. No. I read Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Now, this one, I only gave three stars to it. I could not relate to this book. And I think it is because it is sort of a, I wouldn't say love letter, but it's a letter from Ta-Nehisi to his son about the things that he experienced. So I couldn't necessarily get down with the message that I thought the book was about, but I could understand where he was coming from because him being a black man, the things that he talks about, the things that he experienced, he put it all into the book and into this letter to his son. So it was balanced. I can't knock it for what it was. I just can't do that. It serves a purpose for someone, just not me. And then, of course, all the other books that I talked about already. So go check out all of those books and things like that. I think I'm done with my rant, and I'm going to go edit this, and hopefully there's not a whole bunch of dead space in it after it. Hopefully I can, make some sense out of it. Let me know some of your thoughts on what I've ranted about for the last, 10 or 15 minutes, however long the video ends up being. As always, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you've read any of those books that I named off, please let's comment about them and talk about them down in the description or in the comments. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.